Alright, welcome back to the series. We're in game number 2. It's the quarterfinals, sorry. I almost said semis, even though we just outlined that Joxy is actually waiting for the winner of this in the semifinals. But leading 1-0 in this series, spawning here in the bottom right corner of the map, it's going to be TCM's red Terran player, YoDa. Best
troops. Thanks. As the blue Zerg, get a Samsung Galaxy's Armani.
Okay, so Armani, it's not even, like, here's the worst part about this, right? It's not even like he played that game poorly. He just got outplayed by YoDa. And it was pretty standard stuff. Like, he didn't take so much damage from the Banshees. He didn't get absolutely blown out of the park. He didn't lose a third early or anything like that. But, I mean, the early pressure definitely is what influenced, I'd say, the way that game ended. That got out of control only really, truly at the very end.
There was probably a lot of indirect damage that we didn't account for. Yeah, the drone kills were nice, but yeah, the Banshees really didn't do all that much. Like, if they had killed 4 queens and those drones, that's a lot of damage. And that explains a lot of things, you know, like maybe the lack of, drones coming out as fast as they are, and definitely that lack of crew that we saw, but that wasn't the case. We have a drone scout because of the 2 racks possibility, of course, or the 1 racks proxy, but anyways. It seems like Armani, he was so surprised at those Banshees that there's probably, like, hesitation on droning, hesitation on creep spread, like forgetting to creep spread. It was just a surprise that, again, I don't think should happen on Overgrowth. So common, man.
Well, I do like the drone scout. I mean, it does suck having to pull off that drone early. It really does eat into your economy. It might not seem like one worker is that big of a deal, but with the way Zerg works and the way you lose workers to build buildings, I mean, that one drone is kind of a big deal. But the safety check, the ease of mind, knowing exactly what Armani's doing, seeing that gas, I mean, this was all worth it in the end. So he's going to be ready for the Reaper. His gas is on the way. He's going to try and get that at that speed as soon as he can. And I mean, he's going to play this as pretty much as standard as it gets, I'd imagine, as far as Zerg goes. But there's always that risk. Like, if Armani sees an opening to see like a Roach Baneling all in, you bet your ass he'll take it. If he sees an opening to make Mutas work, it's King Sejong after all. This little crevasse here is a real pain to deal with. He'll take it. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for Zerg player on this map.
Yeah. I mean, we have been seeing a lot more of that, what Nurtrio was doing as well. I mean, we saw it from Jaedong and the IAM as well, but on King Sejong, you can either not get the mutas or you can get the mutas. Both are, situations you can do, but you don't get upgrades. You go for a little bit faster mutas or 2-base muta, you draw them out, you do some damage, and then you just attack with as many banelings as possible, and you hope to win. It's a good strategy. It's hard to scout because you're not locally, like, you either don't see the Evo Chambers because they didn't get them, or you just never scouted anyways. So you just don't know unless you see the the banelings right in front of you. So I actually am kind of expecting Armani to do that. Unless he sees opportunity for an earlier all-in, that is, like the Roach Baneling one or whatever.
Keeping the links alive, good control so far. Always a little bit annoying to deal with this Reaper. It's worth noting too, by the way, I will throw out that he didn't exactly make those extra 2 that were to sneak across the map and get a kill in the SCV. He didn't make 6 in the line of defense. I mean, Armani is really squeezing out every little bit of, I guess, frugality that he can here in the early game.
You had to word that so weirdly.
I don't know if that's true. Well, if that word's real or not. But the idea is, like, again, like that one extra drone instead of that 5th and 6th lane. The one extra drone instead of having to put down a spine or build spores and build canceling over and over. I mean, like, squeezing out every little bit makes all the difference in the world leading towards that mid game. Again, 3 drones in the early game, way more important than even like 10 or 15 in the late game.
Well, YoDa's successfully denying Armani's Overlord again. If he, was going to go ahead and scout his Marines right there. He could have gotten a great scout had his Overlord been just on the left side of the main, at the left side of the natural. Bit of a disappointment right there. I mean, you would see that 3rd CC, it is right there, and you would know that you could drone all day, get an early 3rd, do whatever you want. Maybe do that all in, but as it is, those Banshees hit him really hard last game, so I gotta imagine he's a little paranoid of that.
So I think, yeah, this is actually a really smart choice out of YoDa too, because he knows where the Overlord position typically is on this map. You don't usually have one floating down here, so if he gets away with this, I mean, a 3rd CC can be absolutely so strong, but it can also be the biggest weakness. Again, like, if he sees this, that's immediately Roach Baneling all in, right? Like 9 times out of 10. But he's not going to see it, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah. And if it's not that, it's a later Baneling nest. It's, upgrades before a Baneling nest even. Like, really greedy play. But since he doesn't know that, Armani has to throw down the emergency bailing nest in case there's like a Hellbat push something coming along. Safe, but obviously a commitment to make. Even though it's at a spore crawler, this isn't ever a bad thing really doing King's Age, in my opinion, though. It's definitely worth it. I guess you could get it later on, but you know, it's helpful against Banshees, but it's also just like they're going to drop you at some point at that natural somehow, some way. You may as well have this spore crawler there.
Welcome down with the engineering base. We talked about this a little bit in the past. Not a big fan, but just when we got a bit of downtime, big shout out and love goes out to Livy B, just up at the channel. Livy B, cutest Australian? Question mark. Period.
She's the only. No wait, never mind. No, she's not. Zeph's there.
Well, I don't know. Zeph's like all having a real life and stuff, so whatever.
Yeah, we don't like her anymore.
My StarCraft 2 Australian crush has migrated over to Livy B.
I see. Let's see. We do not have Armani. Oh no, never mind. He is throwing the Evo chambers, gets the layers, so they're going to be upgraded anyway.
I mean, I really the opportunity for Roach Bailing Online is so just. Again, I reference anything you watch in the WCS finals. Like, Zerg all-ins can be so incredibly strong when executed correctly. Even some of the best players in the world, like MMA, will fall to it, especially on the grand stage of the super finals. But this is a situation where YoDa looks like he's actually going to get away with it. This is like watching somebody rob a bank and actually get into the getaway car, you know?
I've never seen someone rob a bank.
Dude, you don't watch movies? There's like a million movies with bank heists and robberies and Ocean's 11 and Inside Man. And all
I really don't watch that many movies pertaining to bank theft either.
But in fairness, Ocean's 11 at least has got like, okay, I guess it's not bank heist, like casino heist, but like, yo, it's George Clooney, it's Brad Pitt, it's like every hot celebrity actor. How do you not watch that?
No, they are hot to a very specific demographic or type of person.
Okay, I'm sorry, not even a little bit gay, but if you're gonna tell me George Clooney isn't handsome as hell,
he's really not my type.
oh my goodness.
Oh, we can't be friends anymore.
No, it's fine. I'll have George Clooney all to myself, so there you go.
Okay.
Alright, well, the Marine Force here out of YoDa is certainly enough to deal with any sort of pressure at this point. Armani is just getting bailing speed, 1-1's on the way. Like, I don't disagree with this choice to take the fourth. I really like the positioning of it. We go on this a little bit later, but I just, the opportunity was there, and it's really sad that it was missed, because when you're down one in a series, like, that's probably one of the strongest ways you can go back into it. For YoDa's sake, the fact that he got this wall up so quickly, he's not going to have to worry about Zergly run-bys. There's not going to be that Baneling crashing into that mineral line and taking out all the SCVs. I mean, this is a really comfortable spot for YoDa.
Yeah. Armani, again, he did have to kind of be like a little more cautious than he would have otherwise liked to, but he's feeling pretty good as well. The creep spread here that YoDa goes in to do, ooh, a little dangerous. Mutas are already out, maybe not expecting that, just have to fly back home. But that would have been kind of unimportant anyways. Obviously, creep spread anywhere is good creep spread, but that was one avenue of attack where you're probably not going to use it again. The fourth is off to the left or to the right, not the middle.
This is just like an awkward death zone, just pretty much went down there. Turret not quite done, so they're just gonna get a couple of kills here. Nothing too crazy, but again, this is the harass you really want to see out of Zerg players. I always go back to when we were watching, oh gosh, I literally just said his name. Oh, that's the Korean one on King's Age.
Curious.
Curious, thank you. I was like, see something, right? Curious versus QR. We watched Curious use Mutalisk to such a great extent where he came back from like a 1-1 deficit versus 3-3 to where he was caught up, he was playing, and he went to that late game really nicely. So, I mean, these Mutalists have got such large potential.
We also have Burr on the way, which is cool to see. A couple of good positions for Burr and Banelings on this map. A couple of really just, you know, the same path over and over again, as many TVs as you've played. A big deal is that Armani really hasn't had that much pressure on his fourth. Usually the fourth like barely gets up, and then you already have the Terran starting to attack. It's starting to clear up the creep spread. It's been a while. That creep spread's pretty far out. That's like 2 scans at least for YoDa to actually clean it up, and you know, obviously stepping on a creeper every time he has to do that.
Great catch in the south, by the way, out of YoDa. The last thing you want to do is let those become Banelings and wreck his third. But Widowmine's got a pretty good shot at that. He got the Overseer Snowbird detection for a bit of time.
Yeah. Immediate response, though, for Armani to build another one. That was all of the Widowmines as well. Killed a couple, and of course these are on cooldown, and YoDa can't advance any further, so the creep spread's still like really good for the situation. Armani also starting to add it on those mutas, feeling very comfortable to do so, so now counterattacks can become even more potent. YoDa obviously still has a really great army, and Tudu's about to finish, but Yeah, it's not the same as Overgrowth. He's not gonna be able to just like, you know, pummel Armani to death.
Well, the helmets are an interesting addition to have this late in the game. I mean, it's something that you just, I don't know. If you're not going mech, you really don't see the meta in too much anymore. Some players that like Dayshack, I think of that like will sometimes actually actively go over Widow Mines, but more Widow Mines being produced now. We got Drilling Claws on the way here, so he'll be able to burn this pretty instantaneously. But he's got to watch out for these Banelings. Armani, at the same time, he knows he doesn't want to go too far off the creep. Wait for those Widow Mine shots to go off. Doesn't want to lose everything. Starts coming from the north side with a bunch of mutas, and some Banelings are going to roll through here to the third. So attacking multiple locations, but not enough juice here for that third base. And well, we'll see what the mutas can get done.
If the supply depots isn't bad and it does open up for the floodgates of Lings, then yes, the mutas are doing a lot of damage. Lings into the third. The army is not there. Where is the army? It's just sitting in the middle of the map.
Yeah, he's waiting for that round 2 attack to come in, but YoDa's got to bring everything back home. Like, Armani's really turning this around. He got a lot of kills with this. 8 SCVs went down. He hasn't really lost that many mutas. Third base has been completely pulled off of Armani, so that's a lot of lost income. I mean, this has worked out pretty well for him.
I don't know what the army was doing. It was like, they'll probably have it. And I was like, no, they don't. No, go back home. Protect them. So he loses a bunch of SCVs and a Thor pretty unnecessarily. YoDa, he might be, well, no, actually the fourth is close to, okay, so he's still okay. That was good damage. It was good counterattacking. Really, it's not so much about the damage done as it is for the fact that Armani's just like really super comfortable. Again, the creature is far out here. He has 5th base. He could get a 6th even. I guess, like, he's about to max out, so he's gonna start banking money, but YoDa, if he plays it safe, he'll get to that 3-3, and he'll get to a fairly easy 4th to take on this map, and he'd still be okay. He just has to survive until then.
Well, the bunker's been remade. Thors, interestingly enough, are usually not that good versus Lynx, but that choke, by the way, I didn't really get to talk about that, was so sick. That Thor to sit in with those depots. So, I mean, that base was secured this whole time. I still think, though, the problem is we're seeing that classic late game. Like, the Hive's a little bit behind, so the upgrades certainly will be. We're going to have YoDa sitting on 3-3, so for a long time, like I say, a good minute and a half to 2 minutes, he's going to have a really nice upgrade lead in this game. But, again, the harass of the mutas is something you can never ignore. He's still done 3 turrets at the natural. You can tell you get fed up, or Terran players get fed up when you start seeing this many turrets come down, but it's like almost a necessity at the same time. 3 turrets are never going to stop mutas, but the idea is you want to deter them from coming for free damage. Kind of like what's happening here in the main. That turret goes down like nobody's business. SCVs are going to die. Contaminates the orbital. That's kind of funny to see.
Attacks the 4th at the same time, and YoDa will have to give up micromanaging his main insert life. Yeah, saving the 4th is probably better. YoDa's not targeting the main. Well, it's one Baneling, so it should be damaging.
It's still cool to see that he's actually actively going for the throw tactics, though. Wasted a lot of Banelings on those Marauders. Definitely not worth it. Muta's driven finally out of the main, and YoDa gets a small amount of breathing room. Again, though, he's coming up on those upgrades. It's his best bet to actually take a fight around that timing, but can he even do that? Widowmine and the Banelings cancel each other out there, so completely nullified the middle of the map. Muta's still trying to get into the main, but despite all this action going on, YoDa finds a way to squeeze out a small drop, heads up to the 5th.
A little slow in the reaction there, so he will be able to get down to about half health. Wow. But of course the drop will die. Greater Spire on the way, as well as all of the upgrades, including internal glands. Some people just don't like to get that.
Catch a good chunk of the Marines here. Tries to pick up with the medevacs.
Oh, what am I? Oh, come on.
That was so scary. That could have been so much worse. Lots of Banelings live through those Widow Mines, though. Now they're going to clash right into the Planetary Fortress. See you later. Now the Muta's going to come and try to clean this up. There's still Thors to worry about, but if he spreads these out, it might not be so bad.
Just barely enough Marines cover that Thor, so Magic Boxing wouldn't work. But that was a fine use of Banelings. I don't want to say great, you know, that was, you know, a lot for a planetary, but it was a very important planetary, so that was good. And Armani, you know, immediately rebuilds everything that he just lost. Almost 80 Lings in the way, a couple more Banelings, replenishing his muta count as well. You know, even if he lost this 4th, he'd just be able to crush YoDa anyways. I think he'd be able to overwhelm him.
Banelings are going to roll here. Widowmine's going to get a decent shot off. They don't quite hit the Banelings, but they missed their mark on the Marines, so a bit awkward for Armani as he rolls in, pulls back immediately. This 3-3 time, he's working out really nicely for YoDa. We got a Greater Spire on the way, but I don't know if we're going to see that get the Broodlords at any point, because right now Armani has just put every mineral, every gas to get more Banelings out.
Oh, good Magic Box top of the Thors. Good pickup, but yeah.
Still going to lose it, but yeah, increases his lifespan.
Wow, Armani really, I think, could have been a lot more patient. I think he should have been more patient. Like, losing the 4th after he did that much damage, you have another 4th. I think that was actually okay, but instead he takes 2 pretty bad engagements and loses everything he just replenished.
Yeah. His army supply is so low, the Banelings are still coming out. Like, I think the biggest problem was like throwing those Banelings into the planetary was cool, watching the planetary go down, but not having those Banelings available for the actual fight is what's really kicking his ass here. But looking to roll past this down that ramp. Marines are not spread out this time. YoDa's going to eat this Bailey straight to the face.
Okay, not that bad of a Widow Mine hit. He does clean it up, but there are still reinforcements coming up from YoDa. And of course, as a Terran player, you could just pick up one of your main or your natural and go to that fourth. His third is still, actually, it's still pretty healthy, really. Natural's running right now. But YoDa still has a good reinforcement line. 11 Marines and a Widow Mine at a time. You can do a lot with that as a Terran player.
I really wish those mutas had lived to see another day. There's so many medevacs there, opportune snipes, I guess, missed, but for Armani's sake, like, he is still choked out pretty badly here. YoDa doesn't have a lot of SCVs, but if Armani can train this out long enough, like, YoDa's on the third base, as you said, he can eventually transfer over, but he's going to mine out at a point. He's not going to be able to continue rallying Marines like this all day. Armani, however, is still mining from this base on the right side. He got this up, it's fresh, it's new, it's a lot of minerals, so again, like, if he can find a way to hold on, the attrition is going to start kicking in. YoDa's already slowing down his production. It's really hard to keep up 11 Marines at a time.
I was gonna say he lost all of his mutas. I didn't mean just to end it as in like he lost, call it early, but he did. He lost all of his mutas. I did not notice that, and it's only at a point where you can just like rebuild as many as you want. He has a lot of gas. The minerals are starting to be
banelings, though. I mean, you can't afford that gas and mutas right now. Like, if he found himself with a bank, then that's a situation where you make 10 mutas, and suddenly you're in a better spot, but not with what he has, not how little he has. So, segments of mutas off to the main, predicting a drop. Great predictions here out of Armani. No, the map's having the creep cleaned up, but this is where YoDa, he needs to take that breath. He realizes, like, wow, I actually don't have a lot of money. He lifts the natural base off, transfers it over to the fourth. Like, he needs to get his income going again. He can't keep producing Marines at this rate. So Armani gets a little bit of breathing room. He didn't panic, he didn't GG early, he's still in this game.
Yeah, he's rebuilding mutas, so realize that he needs those.
No!
And then loses them, so that's cool.
Skips them away.
That would have been 6 mutas, or actually that would have been about 8 mutas. Left with 5, that's still enough to help out kill the medevacs, something really low.
Yeah, it goes from being able to actually decisively snipe off medevacs to just helping. As weird as that is to phrase it like that, but YoDa's got SCVs, he's got mules, he's going to have this income rising once again, so Armani's pressure is about to rise once more. He did a good job saving off the attack of the natural, but like the focus is now going to be on this fifth. This is where a lot of his income's situated, and he didn't rebuild this fourth. He's got a drone over here. I think he wanted to, but he's got the money for it. He's just not rebuilding it yet.
I haven't noticed. 5 more mutas on the way. Again, if he had that muta count for the entire like last 2 minutes, the counterattacks would have just, maybe saved his, well, I don't know about saving his fifth, but it just would have helped out so much. He would have had the breathing room so much earlier, but with only 5 mutas, he goes in here, he's going to try and target down what he can.
Nice swamp of the Banleys coming from the high ground. Worked out really well, but there's a Widow Mine. Go to the natural. Kills a muta. Man, he just can't get that muta count up.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. YoDa does have to retreat back to his, well, it's not planetary, it's just an orbital.
Yeah, I wonder if Armani's getting a little bit greedy overextending like this. He doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of Banelings behind this. If he loses these mutas, that's pretty much going to be it. I don't know if he can remake them yet again, but the SCVs are on the retreat. Takes out the Marines, though. He's denied mining at the base. This is a big deal. 9 Marines at a time. Again, watch the production of YoDa just falter, guys.
The hatchery went down to the natural. It wasn't too big of a, a base, but still, that's really nice. We'll be able to lift out of here.
For someone who's actually got 1,000 minerals in the bank, losing the hatchery for just a larva is kind of a big deal.
I feel like Armani's probably in a good position again. He has that 5th on the way. YoDa's army not that big. Armani with the, well, finally be able to use that bank.
I don't know if exhaustion's starting to set in or not, but like he's missing a lot of injects too. I mean, these queens are really high on energy for the majority of this game. A lot of focus has been dealing with the army, so I mean, it's not like, oh my god, what a noob, he hasn't been injecting. But again, a lot of this comes down to like he's got not a lot of larvae to work with. He just finished spending his money, and that's great. But still, you look at all these hatcheries, and there's not that potential to remax. There's not exactly 74 larvae waiting. No, it's like 9.
Yeah. I think we also should point out the fact that Armani did get 3-3. Usually a situation like this, we have to point out that the Terran is up, but the Lings are doing pretty well by themselves. That was a great fight on creep.
Starting to overextend yet again, though. He's got to be so careful with this. Even though he's fighting on creep, a lot of the times it's like, oh, this was a great fight, but realistically speaking, you can't quite afford to throw away any Banelings. Like, even 1 or 2 Banelings dying could cost him the game. Possibly some Banelings. Yeah, that'd be cool.
YoDa's
very careful. The mutas are going to run into some Marines and a Widow Mine. He's busy trying to rush over to his 4th to defend it. That is just... Armani a mutalist this game, right? Like, how many has he lost for? 43! Oh, God!
Good drops from YoDa gives him a bit of breathing room here.
Yeah, this has been wildly back and forth. I thought this would have been over so many times at this point, but both players still holding on strong. Both players very much in this game still.
Yeah, finally YoDa clears up the creep that has really kind of hurt him. Armani's being able to defend this base on creep every single time.
Completely out of position to defend this.
The Widowmine.
Yeah, the Widowmine hit actually helps kill the Marauders really nicely, but it still loses the bases at the end of the day.
I feel like he could have gotten out there.
He did get this fourth back up though, so I mean like a little oversaturated, but it's okay. It's mining at least.
YoDa has to recognize that, of course. He needs to change his plan of attack and go over elsewhere. Oh god.
No, okay. Just a little out of position, just barely. A smidge. I mean, I'd like to definitely start seeing some defensive broad banelings coming too. I mean, a lot of the creeps can spread up, so I mean, YoDa's not gonna be scanning it nearly as often as he pushes forward. But the opportunity's not here for now. There's this attack again, very low army situation, very low econ for both players.
YoDa attempted to get a fourth using his third. This is going to be so hard to hold. I mean, any amount of lings will be able to attack this, and that's exactly what's going down. He's applying the pressure. The army supply is actually in favor of YoDa. Regular supply is kind of even.
It's so hard though. Like, with the 20 army supply lead, I mean that could dissipate very quickly to some good baneling connections too, right? So it's really hard to say he's like decisively so far ahead, this, that, the other. But I mean, Armani's taking some pretty good engagements. He's not overextending off the creep. Looks like these two lings got a couple of SCV kills, but they will be cleaned up. Meanwhile, I decided to swamp in. YoDa not paying attention for a second, doesn't get to pick anything up, runs away with the medevacs. Oh, these banelings, there's nothing for them to hit. Like, even if they go off, it's only on like 4 Marines, right?
Yeah.
Nobody has any money to work with.
YoDa is, he's rallying here. There's never going to be 100 Marines all in one clump. It's 4 at a time.
I mean, Armani's sake, I'd say he's in a bit of trouble now that YoDa's got those extra 2 bases established. Okay, he had to give up the third, but it's mined out. Takes the middle, takes the left side. Like, YoDa's still got income out the wazoo, and there's not really that harass coming anymore. We had banelings for some time. We had some people poke, but I mean...
You're so sad.
I know.
You can't even deal with a single missile turret.
You guys aren't 20. I'm so sorry. Well, middle of the map still has this couple of banelings. I'm really waiting for these to go off on something sick. I feel like I'm going to miss it, though. I'll be darting all over the map looking for something really cool, and we'll miss these banelings. But, yeah, the Marine clusters. Like, if these were just, like, 2 grid spaces down, they could have had so many opportunities to go off.
You should really bait them with Edos.
That would be kind of cool to see, I guess. A little bit difficult to execute, of course, but... as far as this goes, like, we still haven't seen a single Ultralist this game. That Greater Spire came out forever ago, not a single Brood Lord either. I mean, Armani's never had the breathing room or the money to make this happen. Some defensive banelings were slapped down. We may see a pretty good fight as he... Oh, I mean, YoDa's always been hugging this cliff. It's not like he knows they're here. He's just always been hugging this cliff when he spreads. So we got some links getting to this base. We're going to kill a good chunk of the SCVs. YoDa, however, still applying pressure on the other side of the map. It's really hard to deal with these Marauders. Low Zergling counts, high baneling counts. Marauders work out fantastically.
Yeah. And with the low muta count, he barely has enough to take down those Widow Mines. So, I mean, there's going to be a constant minefield that just grows more and more.
Like, Broad Banelings, please. If this game ends with neither of the sets going off, I'm going to be so upset.
It'd be quite as bad as Moon's Banelings, though. I think that still gets the cake.
Well, a really good back and forth has been going on. Oh, this is the opportunity to get that shot. Nah, it doesn't matter. He's still going to roll in here, though, and, well, the engagement goes down. The Thor falls immediately. These Banelings, Oh, a little bit late.
Oh, nice. It was okay, yeah. I don't think he...
okay hit, but it wasn't amazing.
No. But Armani, I don't think he realized, like, what reinforcements were behind that. He kind of noped out of that, but, not so bad still holding on. I guess he was about to lose that 5th. Like, that was an attack they won't be able to save it, but without